SACIA, like other professional bodies around the world, encourages our members to earn a professional designation that recognizes their skill, knowledge, and competence. It's a formal recognition based on a review of each member's qualifications and work experience. Although the award of a designation is completely voluntary, individuals who've been awarded a designation need to maintain them. Individual members choose to maintain membership in SACIA, abide by a code of professional conduct, and participate in a program of continuing professional development that keeps them up to date with the trends and technologies shaping the future of their chosen profession. Continuing professional development, or CPD as it's commonly referenced, is often an activity that's practiced somewhat grudgingly. Still, in reality, it's a necessary activity for anyone who wants to maintain their professional relevance. Why is that? Well, SACIA's development started in the broadcast industry, so let's go back in history just 50 years and have a look at some of the changes that have taken place. Before the 1970s, all imagery, both moving and still images, were captured on film. The camera on the left is a Frezzi LW16. It's a 16mm news camera. And whilst I was preparing this presentation, I came across an article by Henry Batista, in which he described how he'd used this camera throughout the 1970s to capture the apartheid conflict in South Africa, the Rhodesian Bush War, and the Angolan Civil War for both the SABC and ABC, the American broadcast company. Sony introduced their U-matic video camera in 1971, and every 10 years since there's been a leap in technology with new recording formats and enhanced performance. With the evolution of computing technology, we've also seen dramatic changes in editing and post-production. We've morphed from linear to non-linear editing, and we've evolved from single-user to multi-user production platforms. More recently, the evolution has been from location-based production to cloud-based production. The technologies and the workflows used in content creation have changed fundamentally in just 50 years. And so too has the way that we use these images in an events environment. Throughout the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, you'll recall the sound of slide projectors stepping forward as multi-image shows. During the late 80s and 90s, CRT projection became a dominant technology. These projectors were big and clumsy and expensive, and they took hours to align. But as technology evolved, single lens projectors were introduced to the market, and by the late 1990s, the era of digital video projection had arrived. In 2009, Christie introduced their microtiles product, and that was just before the introduction of LED video walls, which have come to dominate the events market over the last decade. Almost every year there's an improvement in resolution and performance, and for high-end events, LED walls have become the norm rather than the exception. Again, we see a fundamental change in the technology and workflows that apply in a relatively short period of time. We can apply the same logic to motor cars or telephones or social constructs like courtship. The world is changing at a rapid pace, and whilst we are more connected than we have ever been, in many ways, anyone who fails to keep up to date with new technology or workflows will find themselves increasingly isolated and marginalized. Both of our examples refer back to the 1970s, and at that time, futurist Alvin Toffler described how the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but rather those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. This quote comes from Future Shock, a book in which Alvin Toffler and his wife Adelaide Farrell define the term future shock as a certain psychological state of individuals and entire societies, and they express their personal belief that there was at that time too much change in too short a period of time. Their book, which became an international bestseller, sold over 6 million copies, and has been widely translated. It emphasizes the importance of not just acquiring knowledge, but also letting go of outdated information and adapting to new learning in a rapidly changing world. And it's essential to recognize that he expressed this belief before the rapid changes that we've just been speaking about. So what does this quote mean to us? Learn, unlearn, and relearn. Well, it represents a continuous learning cycle where you need to be open to revising previous knowledge as needed. It stresses the need to be adaptable, and it describes how the ability to unlearn old habits and relearn new ones is crucial for staying relevant in a world with rapid advancements. The unlearn part signifies the need to question existing beliefs and assumptions and be willing to change your perspective if necessary. So then the question becomes, how do you learn? How do you unlearn? How do you relearn? For new knowledge to be retained, it needs to become part of the brain's long-term memory. And for that to happen, the brain has to determine that the information is important enough to keep. So for learning and relearning, the question is, how do we convince the brain that new information is valuable? How do we teach the brain that it's okay to disregard information it previously deemed valuable? They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but it's not true. You just need to convince your brain that the new tricks provide value that supersedes those tricks it already knows. Because people learn differently, SACIA recognizes multiple options to earn CPD credits. Since you learn by doing, we provide CPD credits for continued employment in your sector. Suppose you're working on a challenging project that requires you to solve complex problems or exercise critical thinking. In that case, you can score bonus points by providing us with information on the project and claiming credit for accelerated experiential learning. If you're sharing knowledge with others in your profession, we'll give them credit for the knowledge you're sharing, and we'll credit you for supporting their development. And of course, you can earn CPD credits by attending training programs, conferences, exhibitions, or other relevant events. We'll even allow you to benefit from your volunteer activities. And although we ask you to engage in CPD activities, you shouldn't be doing any of these for us. Learning should be a lifelong activity. If you don't keep up to date with the trends and technologies shaping the future of your profession, you become irrelevant. It goes without saying that we require our designated members to keep track of their own CPD activity in order to maintain their professional designation. But even without this requirement, it's a practice that helps you stay competitive. Tracking CPD activity can help identify areas of strength and weakness in your professional development. It helps you adapt to changes in the work environment and prepare for future jobs, perhaps even jobs that don't exist at the moment. If you think it'll help, you can download a CPD tracking template from the CPD page on the SACIA website. To maintain your designation, you need to earn 45 CPD credits during a 3-year period, starting from the date on which your designation was awarded. You can claim 7 points a year from continued employment, so in reality, you only need to spend 1 day a year on the process of learning, unlearning, and relearning. I think it's worth investing more than 1 day a year on your personal development. You can learn more about SACIA's CPD requirements on the CPD page on the SACIA website. You'll find it as the 4th tab down under the Professional Certification tab. You can also download the CPD tracker from the bottom of that page. Once you've completed the CP tracker, it'll look something like this. You'll need to return it to the SACIA office along with your supporting documentation, and we'll check it against the CPD requirements. This form that I've now got up on the screen is the current CPD form for Prosnay Phillips, and I'm sharing it with her permission. You'll see she's claimed 21 CPD points for continued employment, 15 CPD points for mentoring and coaching, 52 CPD points for training presented or attended, and 10 points for volunteer activities. She easily meets the requirement to achieve 45 CPD points in 3 years, and I suspect you will too. If you have any questions about the process of tracking and submitting your CPD documents, please don't hesitate to contact me. My email address is on the SACIA website, kevan@sacia.org.za.